I don't know if anyone will believe me, but I need to tell this story before it consumes me completely. It started 3 nights ago, on a street just like any other. Quiet, suburban, ordinary. My neighborhood isn't the kind of place where strange things happen. The loudest sound you'd usually hear at night was the soft hum of streetlights, or maybe the distant bark of a dog. But that night, everything felt wrong. I had trouble sleeping, so I went for a walk around 2:30 a.m. The air was heavy, thick, almost suffocating. It smelled of wet soil and rust, like a storm was coming, but the sky was perfectly clear. The houses were dark, except for the occasional flicker of a TV screen behind closed curtains. As I walked, I noticed something strange: the silence. Even at night, there's always some kind of background noise: crickets, wind, a car in the distance. But that night, there was nothing, no sound at all. It was so silent I could hear my own heartbeat echoing in my ears. I turned the corner, and that's when I saw the first sign that something was terribly, terribly wrong. Down the street, every porch light was on, every single house. The warm yellow glow created a strange, almost theatrical atmosphere, as if the entire neighborhood was waiting for something. And then, I saw it. At first, I thought it was just a shadow at the very end of the street. But as my eyes adjusted, I realized it wasn't a shadow at all. It was a figure, a child, a massive child. It stood in the middle of the road, its silhouette illuminated by the flickering streetlights. Its proportions were wrong: arms too long, legs unnaturally thick. Even from a distance, I could tell it was huge, at least 3 stories tall. Its head turned slowly, unnaturally, until it faced me directly. That's when I saw its eyes, glowing, burning orange, like hot coals. I froze. My body refused to move. I wanted to scream, but my voice caught in my throat. The child, if you could even call it that, took a single step toward me. The ground shook. Not a tremor. Not like a truck passing by. This was deep, resonant, primal, the kind of vibration you feel in your bones. My instincts screamed at me to run, so I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over my own feet. As I turned to flee, I noticed something horrifying. The windows of the houses on both sides of the street were glowing the same orange as the creature's eyes. And then, faintly, from inside one of those houses, I heard it, a child's giggle. But it wasn't playful or innocent. It was low, guttural, vibrating like an animal's growl. I sprinted home, heart pounding, lungs burning, my own footsteps drowned out by the thunderous stomps of whatever was following me. When I reached my front door, I slammed it shut, locked it, and collapsed against it, gasping for air. Outside, the street fell silent again. No footsteps, no giggles, just silence. But when I dared to peek through the curtains, I saw it. The colossal child, standing perfectly still at the end of my driveway, its glowing eyes fixed directly on me. And then, very slowly, it smiled. I didn't sleep at all that night. How could I? Even after the creature disappeared, its image was burned into my mind. The glowing orange eyes, the way it smiled at me. I sat on the floor with my back against the door, clutching a kitchen knife like it could somehow protect me from that thing. Hours passed. The sun eventually rose, but its light didn't bring comfort. Instead, the whole neighborhood seemed off. People went about their routines, mowing their lawns, checking their mail, walking their dogs, as if nothing had happened. But there was something wrong with their faces. Their expressions were blank, robotic, like they were just pretending to be human. I tried asking my next-door neighbor, Mrs. Graham, if she'd heard anything strange last night. She tilted her head slightly like a broken doll and said in a flat tone, "No, nothing happened." Then she smiled, the exact same slow, unnatural smile that it had given me. I slammed my door shut and locked it again. My hands were trembling. I wasn't imagining this. I couldn't be. As the day dragged on, I noticed something else unsettling. Every window in the neighborhood had heavy curtains drawn tightly shut. No sunlight leaked out, no shadows moved inside. It felt like the entire street was holding its breath. By nightfall, the oppressive silence returned. I sat in my living room with all the lights off, peeking through a tiny gap in my curtain. The streetlights flickered erratically, casting warped shadows across the pavement. That's when I saw it again, the colossal child. It appeared from behind the row of houses at the far end of the street, towering above the rooftops like some ancient, monstrous deity. Its skin was pale, almost bluish, and its massive feet crushed asphalt and concrete with every step. But this time, it wasn't alone. Smaller figures emerged from the houses, dozens of them, human-sized silhouettes with glowing orange eyes. They moved jerkily, like puppets on invisible strings. And then, one by one, they tilted their heads back and screamed in perfect unison. The sound, I can't even describe it. It wasn't just a scream. It was like metal grinding against bone, a shriek that clawed at my skull and rattled my teeth. My vision blurred, and blood began to trickle from my nose. The colossal child crouched low, its massive face inches from the nearest house. And then, with a guttural laugh, it swallowed one of the glowing-eyed figures whole. I wanted to vomit. I stumbled backward, knocking over a lamp, which crashed loudly to the floor. The sound must have drawn its attention. The colossal child's head snapped toward me. Its glowing eyes locked onto my window. I froze as it began moving in my direction, each footstep shaking the walls, rattling the glass in their frames. My phone was on the table. My trembling hands fumbled for it, dialing 911. The call connected, but what I heard wasn't a dispatcher's voice. Instead, there was giggling, that same guttural, nightmarish giggle from before. And then, a whisper. "You shouldn't have seen us." The line went dead. I looked back through the curtain and saw the creature's massive hand reaching down toward my house, its long fingers curling like a cage. The smaller figures gathered around, circling my home, their glowing eyes reflecting in the dark. I ran to the basement, heart pounding so hard it hurt. I barricaded the door with anything I could find: furniture, boxes, shelves. I crouched in the corner, trying to steady my breath, when I heard it. A voice. A child's voice, but impossibly deep, speaking from just outside the basement window. "Play with us." Then came a deafening slam, shaking the entire house. The ceiling cracked, dust rained down. Another slam, louder this time. The barricade wouldn't hold for long. I realized, with dawning horror, that it wasn't trying to break in. It was toying with me, like a child playing with a bug before tearing off its wings. The third slam knocked me off my feet. Boxes and furniture toppled over, crushing the barricade I'd made. My ears rang, my vision swam, and through the chaos I heard it. That giggle. Not from outside this time, from inside the basement. I spun around, my breath catching in my throat. In the darkest corner of the room, two small orange lights flickered to life. Eyes, tiny compared to the colossal creature outside, but no less terrifying. As they blinked open, I realized there were several pairs, scattered across the darkness. They'd been here the whole time, watching me. A chorus of whispers rose from the shadows. "Play with us. Play with us forever." I grabbed a rusted crowbar from the floor and swung wildly, screaming, but my weapon passed through nothing but cold, damp air. The whispers grew louder, more urgent, until they merged into a single, deafening screech. Then, silence. Total, suffocating silence. I dared to open my eyes and froze. The colossal child was crouched outside the broken basement window, its massive face pressed close, its glowing eyes flooding the room with fiery light. Its mouth curled into that same slow, unnatural smile. I wanted to run, but my body wouldn't obey. It was like those eyes were pinning me to the floor, forcing me to stay. That's when I saw the smaller figures emerging from the shadows around me. They were children, or they used to be. Their bodies were twisted, malformed, their jaws hanging open at impossible angles. Their skin was grayish-blue, like drowned corpses, and from their mouths came that same guttural giggle. They surrounded me, moving in perfect unison, until there was no escape. The colossal child tilted its head and spoke. Its voice wasn't a single voice, but thousands, layered over each other, like a choir of the damned. "You don't belong here, but you will." The smaller creatures lunged at me. Cold, clammy hands grabbed my arms and legs, pinning me to the floor. I screamed, thrashing, kicking, but they were impossibly strong. Their giggles grew frenzied, echoing off the basement walls until I thought my eardrums would burst. I turned my head toward the window just in time to see the colossal child open its mouth wide, too wide, like its jaw was unhinging. Darkness poured from its throat, a swirling void that sucked the air from the room. "No, please," I screamed, my voice raw. But the smaller creatures lifted me up, carrying me toward that yawning black maw. As they dragged me closer, I saw the faces of my neighbors inside the swirling darkness, blank, lifeless, trapped. Their mouths moved soundlessly, repeating the same phrase over and over. Nothing happened, nothing happened. I fought with everything I had left. One arm slipped free. I grabbed the broken edge of a pipe sticking out of the wall and stabbed the nearest creature in the eye. It shrieked and dissolved into black smoke. For a moment, the others recoiled. I broke free, sprinting up the basement stairs as the entire house shook violently. I burst through the front door and into the street. The neighborhood was unrecognizable. Houses crumbled, streetlights bent and flickering, the sky above glowing a sickly orange. Behind me, the colossal child rose to its full height, towering over everything. Its laugh shook the world. I ran. I didn't look back. I just ran until my lungs burned and my vision blurred. When I finally stopped, gasping for air, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't in my town anymore. The street stretched endlessly in both directions, lined with identical houses, every window glowing orange. And in the distance, dozens of colossal children moved between the houses, their glowing eyes like lanterns in the dark. A wave of despair crashed over me. There was no escape. I sank to my knees, sobbing, as one of the creatures turned toward me. It leaned down, its enormous face filling the sky, and whispered in that chorus of voices. You smiled back. I didn't understand, until I felt it. My lips were curling upward on their own, stretching wider and wider until it hurt. The last thing I saw before everything went black was my reflection in a shattered window, my own eyes glowing orange. And now as I tell you this, I can hear it behind me, giggling.
Subscribe to Horror Story Bar.